guys, thanks for checking me out. This is episode number 3. Yeah, 3, baby. Can't believe it, right? It's moving along. I just want to remind you guys that I'm actually going to be doing 2 episodes per week minimum. 1 on Monday and 1 on Friday. That's the goal. I'm probably going to push that to 3 episodes depending on how this thing rolls out. All right. And your feedback will have a lot to do with that. So let's get this party started. All right. I'm going to play something for you. It's a song. I want you to tell me if you know who this is. All right. Hold on. Here it goes.
Word to the pussy nigga, never kept a job. Booby gave me gang, we used to sell dope and raw. I left a stain off in Carrot City. My last name should be Carrot City. Used to sell dope just to feed the fam. Max box jumping with the kilograms. I feel your pain if you from Carrot City. My last name should be Carrot City.
All right, that was actually Rick Ross, Rose, as they call him. And I'm not going to lie to you, I don't know anything about the man. I don't know much about him at all. Okay. But he, for this particular week, has come under my radar because I'm doing a segment that I'm going to start doing on this show called Ask a Celebrity. Now, yeah, maybe I'll do that. Ask a Celebrity or Celebrity Advice. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind, whatever the title is going to be. But basically, the gist of it is that there are celebrities who are writing advice columns. And yeah, there's quite a few of them, actually. It's not anything new. You know, magazines will go to celebrities and say, hey, can you write an advice column for a few months or a few weeks or whatever. And usually celebrities will do it because it gives them a different type of visibility. And certainly with that publication's audience, it's kind of a win-win for everyone, right? So we're going to launch this segment with Rick Ross because I was thoroughly intrigued, although there were other celebrities that I could have chosen. There's quite a few actually who have advice columns. You'd be surprised. I felt the most intrigued by Rick Ross because I don't particularly care for him myself. I don't know much about him. But the thought that this hardcore rapper would have an advice column was thoroughly intriguing to me. Now I'm going to tell you what I know about Mr. Ross. All right. Here's what I know about him. I had to make the list and it's a really short one. Okay. I know that he's a rap star. I know he had beef with 50 Cent. And apparently a lot of people said that he won that beef. It's legendary. And I know that Meek Mills is signed to his label. I know that he was engaged to a stripper named Lyra Galore until November of 2015. And I know that he was a corrections officer. That's all I know about the brother. That's it. And, it is what it is. I'm not particularly drawn to his music. That song that I played for you guys, not something that I would buy or play or listen to, but whatever. If it's your thing, it's your thing and it's good. But here's what Wikipedia had to say about him, because I always like to go into Wikipedia to see what they say, because to some extent, you are what Wikipedia says you are. I don't give a damn what you think you are. If you go on Wikipedia and you find a definition of what you are or a description of what you are, people are going to believe that description. So here's what Wikipedia says in the entry under Rick Ross. All right. William Leonard Roberts II. Born January the 28th, 1976, better known by his stage name Rick Ross, is an American rapper and entrepreneur. In 2009, Ross founded the record label Maybach Music Group. Was it Maybach? Maybach Music Group, on which he released his studio albums Deeper Than Rap, 2009, Teflon Don, 2010, God Forgive, I Don't. Oh, that's funny. God Forgives, I Don't, 2012, Mastermind, Hood Billionaire, 2014, and Black Market, 2015. Ross was also the first artist signed to Diddy's management company, Ciroc Entertainment. I didn't know that. And in 2012, MTV named Ross as the hottest MC in the game. Boom. I had no idea. Go figure. All right. So what we're going to do right now after this break is go into Rick Ross's advice column that he did for Rolling Stones. I'm going to give you my feedback. I'm going to read a little bit from his column, what kind of advice he gave. Was he good? Was he whack? Was he this? Was he that? And that song, by the way, that I just played is from his video that I picked up on YouTube. It's a video of him performing Carol City, and it's on 2016 Def Jam recordings. I'll have the link in the bio if you guys want to check out the full video. But anyway, sit back, relax. Let me know what you think of Rick Ross's advice column. Does he give good advice? Does he suck? Should he shut it down? Actually, the advice column for him is no longer around. But still, what do you think? Let me know. All right. His advice column was called, I'm calling this segment, by the way, When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong. And his advice column is actually called, let's see, Ask a Boss with Rick Ross. I like the title. I think it's cute. So anyway, this is what Rolling Stones says in their introduction to the column. In other words, this is their announcement, I should say, about the column and their call for questions for Rick Ross. Ever wonder how Rick Ross would handle a tough situation? Well, now's your chance to find out. The Miami rap star is getting his own advice column in Rolling Stone, quote unquote, Ask a Boss with Rick Ross. We'll ask Ross the best questions and publish his answers in an upcoming issue of the magazine. Co-workers driving you crazy? Relationship troubles got you down? Don't wait any longer. Get some advice from a certified boss. All right. It's kind of cute. It's cute, but I have to tell you something. I read all of the questions that were submitted, that they posted. What they did was they answered them in batches. They took batches of questions and they sent them to Rick Ross, and he spoke the answers to Simon Vozick Levinson, who's the senior editor at Rolling Stones. I mean, Rick Ross didn't even write the answers out, which I think is kind of like, come on, dude, you can't write the answers. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, he talked the answers to him. All right. So, I wanted to pretty much gouge out my eyes after reading Rick Ross's answers, because they was just so. I get that it's supposed to be entertainment because this is a Rolling Stone, so you can't take all this seriously. I always say that anyway about advice columns. You don't take this stuff too seriously, right? Because they want it to be a good read and it's got to be entertaining and everything. But it's just like the waters only go so deep here. And I think it's just him pretending to be extremely shallow to satisfy his image, or his, to kind of play up to his image of being the boss and not having much to say. But to be honest with you, come on, dude, you could have done a little better than this. Let me read a couple of the questions and Rick Ross's answers. This is his advice to people. You guys can judge for yourself. All right. So let's see. The first one is, I'm going to go into the career advice that he gives. All right. And this was sent in by someone named Steve in New York. And he writes, Dear Rick Ross, I work at an advertising company. Okay. The other day over drinks, I told one of my colleagues a great new marketing campaign I thought of for one of our biggest clients. And the next morning I brought it up in the office. No, wait, the next morning he brought it up in the office like it was his idea. This isn't the first time this guy has stolen my ideas. What should I do? Signed, Steve in New York. And Rick Ross says to him, well, damn. First of all, you label the guy a cunt. All right. Pull him aside one time, get some direct eye contact going, and advise him that he is now labeled a cunt, and you will do everything you can to expose him. Tell him you expect him to tell everyone where he got the genius idea from in the next 24 hours or else. So apparently Rick Ross's advice is to threaten the guy. And so I guess after the guy posts bail, getting out of jail for the threat or for fighting or whatever, he's going to have a bigger problem on his hands. But anyway, that's his first advice. All right, I'm going to keep reading. But obviously my advice would be different, But again, I think this is just Rick Ross being, trying to be hard and whatever the case may be. He knows that won't fly. My problem with this answer is that we get that, and if you're going to do something like this, at least make it funny or make it interesting. But I don't know. To me, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. What I would tell the guy, though, is I would say to him, yo, dude, seriously, stop giving out your ideas. Like, the biggest problem in this is not even so much that the guy is taking your ideas. There's always someone like that in offices. That's a given. You know what I mean? But the problem is that you keep talking to him about your ideas. Because you said the other day over drinks, stop having drinks with him. Stop dealing with him. And if you do, don't give him your ideas. Boom. Hello. So yeah. Anyway, this is where it gets a little disturbing for me with Rick Ross in his advice column. This is his advice on relationships. Okay. Here's a problem sent in by someone who calls himself Bobby in Seattle. All right. I really want to make a sex tape with my girlfriend. But I'm worried she'll think I'm a total creep if I ask her to do this. She's actually a kindergartner teacher, and she's definitely the good girl type. Should I give it a try or forget it? Signed, Bobby, Seattle. Rick Ross says, Nah, man, give it a try. Every now and then I pull out my iPhone in bed just to get a little clip. 9 times out of 10, she says, I was waiting for you to ask. Oh, God. That's such bullshit. I don't know. I don't buy that. But anyway, that's his advice, right? Forget that she's a kindergarten teacher. Forget that she's straight-laced or whatever. Actually, I will say this, that he does have a point here. I don't like the way he says it. I think the way he says it is crappy. But he should, if the guy is thinking about this and this is your girlfriend, then it's better to express what you're thinking and what you want and ask her. And if she says no, then that's a different story. But just ask her. I don't think anything should be off the table in terms of asking unless it's illegal. If it's not illegal and you all are adults, then ask. If it's your sexual preference, then she might be down with it. You never know. So I would agree with him. I don't like the way he answered the question here, but I agree with Rick Ross there. Pretty much. Here's another relationship problem. I'm a college girl who hasn't had a lot of luck in love. I'm just so bad at texting that I think I scare guys away. My friend is really good at texting though. Is it weird if I get her to ghostwrite my texts to boys? Signed, Mary in Queens. And Rick Ross says, not at all. Nah, I don't care who's writing my girl's texts as long as I don't find out. Sometimes I even get a dart or two to my homeboys when they're texting a chick late at night. See, these dudes want to be like, hey, baby, come over for a smoothie. Or some weak shit like that. I'll put them on to some real boss talk. That's what friends are for. Mind you, he never says what that boss talk is, right? He's like, yeah, I'll put them on to some real boss talk. But he never says what that is. So funny. That's so bad. It's so horrible to tell this girl that. Am I a prude? Maybe I'm being a prude. What do you guys think? I mean, it's just, I get it. Again, it's Rolling Stones, but it's so stupid. It doesn't have to be this. This is kind of like you're basically validating her insecurities and telling her that she needs someone else to communicate to a man for her. And it's like, no, you don't, girl. All you have to do is what I would tell her. I would say, hey, we're not all good at doing everything. And I know texting is big. You just have to talk to your friend, talk to any guy that you're dating. And if he starts texting a lot, just talk to him and say, look, I'm not big on texting, and I don't like texting a lot. And maybe what you guys can do is communicate another way, either by phone or whatever, email, calling, whatever. Find another way to communicate. And if he's down with it, that's great. If he's not, bye-bye. The world is bigger than that. But what I really think will happen is that if you get close enough and comfortable enough with someone, with that guy, that you probably will increase your texting abilities or capabilities and get better at it. To me, it's like a little bit of performance anxiety, because you've convinced yourself that you suck at texting. You are now very nervous when you text. And so you've made it 100 times worse in your mind. And that's just going to that will go, I think it can go away. If you are honest with someone, you get close to them, and then you begin to feel like you trust him enough and comfortable enough around him to do it. So that's what I would tell her. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Whose advice did you like better there? Was it Rick Ross's or mine? Be honest. And if neither one, what would you tell this girl? I mean, these are supposed to be real people writing in. You never know. These publications could just be creating stuff. Here's another one. Oh, this one is so disgusting. Here it is. So this guy from Hoboken, New Jersey writes in, I've been seeing the girl of my dreams for 2 years. But lately I've started hooking up with a woman I met at the car wash where I work. I don't want to break up with my girlfriend, but I can't stop thinking about the car wash girl. Is it possible to be with 2 women at the same time without either one finding out? Signed, Jason in Hoboken, New Jersey. And this is what Rick Ross writes. Oh, most definitely. Believe me, it's possible. If you're determined, you can do it. You've just got to become very, very charming. Ha. Oh, God, people. It's so bad. But here's the thing. It's not even being judgmental because it's kind of screwed up that he would tell the guy to go ahead and cheat. It's just that the advice that you're giving him, if he wants to cheat, is wrong. Like if I'm going to give somebody advice on cheating, that would not be it. Because it's not about being very, very charming. It's about being a very, very good liar. And if you are not someone who has been doing this, chances are you're not a good liar. And you're going to get caught by one of those women, because women are very good at catching men in lies. Women hate that. They hate men who lie to them. And it's bad enough if you have one woman who's giving you the side eye, but if you've got two of them and you're trying to play to both of them, and you're dumb. You're not even, I guarantee you're going to get busted within the first couple of months. So if it's what you want to do and you feel like it's worth losing everything, then go ahead and do it. But just know, I promise you, one of those women is going to be, and maybe it might be that the girl at the car wash is okay with you, banging your girlfriend or whatever, but trust me, you're going to get caught. I guarantee you are not as smart as the women you are banging right now. All right. So yeah, because if you have to ask, you're not a player, as they say, you're not the player type. So just let that go, dude. Let it go. So yeah, I just, even for that kind of advice, if Rick Ross was going to give advice on how to be a player, come on, guys. Is that really good advice that he gave? I mean, shit. And then he finally gives us this last advice, which I think is disturbing. And this was the one that I picked that I was like, ugh. My English teacher assigned a paper, and I think it's horrible, but whatever. My English teacher assigned a paper on The Great Gatsby. I never did the reading, but my older brother got an A on The Great Gatsby paper at another school a few years ago. There's no way I could get caught. Should I just hand in this paper? Freddie from Toronto. And Rick Ross says, look over the left shoulder, look over your right shoulder. Why not? We've all heard The Great Gatsby story thousands of times. Hand in the paper, make your teacher proud, and spend that time on something else. I don't know. I don't think that's good advice, telling a kid to cheat on his test, but whatever. I mean, it's The Great Gatsby, dude. You can't find you can't watch the movie and then read part of the notes. I mean, I know the point is that the paper was already written. Nah, I don't think that's good advice. I think it's pretty crummy. And I take an issue with Rolling Stones printing this because, I don't know, I think it's kind of irresponsible of them to do that. I think it sucks because if these are real questions and these kids are really looking up to Rick Ross, I just think it's irresponsible for Rolling Stones to print it, but whatever. And also it's just crappy. It's just crappy publishing because this stuff is not even really, to me, it's not interesting. What do you think? I mean, maybe I'm just being the prude here. I don't know, or whatever. But here's the one piece of advice that he gave, though, believe it or not, that I did like, because I'm telling you, I read all of his column, the entire thing, all of the posts that they did, I read them. And this one was actually a really good, I think it was a good one, and it's on self-worth. And the guy who writes it is Vincent from Boston, and he's basically like, yo, dear Rick Ross, I have a friend, I'll call him Chris. Everybody thinks Chris is a total boss. He always gets the hottest girls, drives the nicest car, and drinks the finest alcohol, Ciroc, obviously. But I know Chris better than most people, and I know that his car is really his dad's. He only has money to spend because he lives at home rent-free, and he usually makes me go halves on the Ciroc anyway. My question is this: what defines a boss? Is it just about appearances, or is there something deeper that makes someone a boss? Signed, Vincent in Boston. And Rick Ross says to him, being a boss is much deeper than that. It can be the brokest dude in the beat-up car who's the real boss. It's not about money or status. It's about heart. Right now, I'm wearing a gold Rolex, and Drake gave me two Christmases ago. It's my second time wearing it. But even when I wasn't in the position I'm in today, I always had my ambitions, and I always took responsibility. That's who the boss is. There. I gotta agree with him on that. I think that's a great answer. I was expecting and hoping to hear more of that from him with these other answers. Ultimately, I know that they were going for entertainment with this column, but I don't hear it and I don't see it. And honestly, I think his substantive answers would have been even more entertaining than the ones where he was really just kind of giving throwaway bullshit answers that were supposed to be either funny or gangster or whatever. I don't know. But whatever, you guys can check it out. Also, I think if Rolling Stones, and this is just me putting on my content marketing hat, if Rolling Stones was going to go for something like this, I think they should have asked if you wanted a rapper, who could they have gone for? P. Diddy. P. Diddy would give, I think, really good answers. You know that man likes to talk anyway, right? He talks a lot. But in all fairness, a lot of times he has some good stuff to say. If you watched his reality TV show a few years ago when he had that, what was it called? Making the Band or something. He likes to kind of lecture and talk to kids and give them good advice or whatever. I think he would have been good at this. And who else? I think maybe Drake would be good at this. they could reach out to Drake and say, give us can you do 3 or 4 advice columns for us, over the course of a month. I think he would have been good. Who else? So there's a couple of people. I think the old school guys, like even Dr. Dre, although Dr. Dre would never do it, but still Dr. Dre would give some good advice. You want a rapper who's lived a little, or who's lived a lot. Who else? Dr. Dre, Master P, the old school guys. I also think it would be more interesting, but then I get why they went with a Rick Ross too. But anyway, that's just my feedback. I don't know. I think they dropped the ball on this one, but I will put the link in the show notes. You guys can check it out for yourself. I read all of them, and I wouldn't say, I don't know. You take a look at it yourself and tell me what you think, and tell me what you think of these his answers, his ridiculous answers to these problems. And I will check you guys out later.